When I heard about the Selma March, I was in Kansas City, Missouri. I lived here. As a matter of fact, the Selma March, I lived on 11th and Vine. That's about 100 feet from 12th Street and Vine. We were participating in some marches ourselves. So the Selma March was the kind of march that helped us believe in ourselves. You couldn't believe this could happen in the United States of America. It was awful. It was something that you never can forget because you could see how bloodied and how beaten the people were simply on a march. And so I was disturbed at it. It made me want to go even just a little further. There was not only just me just disturbed, but there were our white brothers and sisters who were also disturbed about what happened in Selma. And so it gave rise to a collective effort by brown and white and black people to make things better in America.
You've got to keep the white and the black separate.
Do you think you can keep Birmingham in the present situation of segregation?
I may not be able to do it, but I'll die trying.
I lived in Chicago, Illinois, and I was looking at our television, and it was appalling to see the images, and yet it was something that we appreciated from the standpoint of having the truth told in action on national television.
The ride there was very scary because when they outlined the itinerary, we were going through the state of Mississippi. And I remember so much about, because the Emmett Till situation had occurred. And in terms of being afraid, I mean, I was really afraid to ride that bus through Mississippi. But there was one thing that was unusual. The bus never stopped. It only stopped at a filling station once, and you were able to use the restroom, but at no time did we ever stop and eat at a cafe. I think that was the reality of the situation. So it was scary for me, and you have to remember I was just like right at 20, and I was about to be married in August. So a lot of things kind of went through my head, but it was scary for me, and definitely scary after I got there. On the ground, I'm one of the few people who actually witnessed the Presbyterian minister, James Reed, actually being beaten to death. I didn't know that was what was happening, but I actually witnessed it from about 50 or 60 feet. What happened was they actually cordoned off all the black people from being in the streets. So you had to stay kind of in one quarantine area. And they had these little carpenter horses kind of around. And if you got past that, you stood the opportunity to be beaten. And so most of us complied, and certainly we didn't want to be beaten. But the brutality of the police was probably the most longest lasting in my mind. I'd never seen dogs turned on people, and and maybe I'd seen it on TV, but those images still reign supreme in my mind.
We have the right to walk the highway. We have the right to walk to Montgomery if our feet can get us there. We must let the nation know, and we must let the world know, that it is necessary to protest this threefold evil. The problem of the denial of the right to vote, the police brutality that we continue to face and faced in its most vicious form last Sunday.
Well, I was a young student at Howard University in Washington, D.C., and watching it on TV in the student lounge, at least the media coverage.
When I saw that what was happening with us, as was what was happening with the other race, anyone that looked forward to the future would get involved in what was happening with our people.
We grew up in Durham, North Carolina, to the white and colored water fountains. When we went to the movie, we had to sit upstairs, and we were looking for public accommodations. When we saw Selma, when they wanted to vote, and they beat them up.
The African American community has continued to move forward in the struggle, but we still have a number of struggles.
I would say that if not but for the Selma March, there would not have ever been a Mayor Emanuel Cleaver, who is now a congressman. There would have never been a Mayor Sly James, who is our present seated mayor. There would never have been Jermaine Reed's, Carol Cole's, Charles Hasley's, all of the sacrifices of the Bruce R. Watkins era, the Leon Jordan era, would have been in vain. And those sacrifices were being made as a direct effect of the March on Selma.
I was here in Kansas City, Missouri when I first heard about that. I was pastoring in Metropolitan. I came here in 1962, and I was pastoring the Kansas City, the church there, Metropolitan Missionary Baptist Church, here in the city.
You know, things happen here today, and I want to reiterate what Reverend Reese has just said concerning the 3 Unitarian ministers who were beaten about an hour or so ago.
Selma is just one of many important historical watersheds that's happening in our community. And I think if Selma hadn't taken place, then there would have been another Selma that would have happened someplace else. But the fact that it did, it gave us a reason to galvanize, and it told us that having a right, the Voting Rights Act passed, is important. But if no one gets out there and get people registered to vote, it doesn't mean anything. Selma taught us that having the Congress pass a law is not the same thing as us enacting it, because people will work against you to stop you, to intimidate you from taking a free step to gain power. So Selma taught us it's just not enough for us to pass a law. We've got to get out there and make that law happen. And it's the same as it was in the 60s, as it was in the 70s, the 80s, and even right now. It is up to us to get out there and make it happen. A law just gives us the opportunity, but we have to walk through the door.
Keep off the highway. We will be marching on the shoulder of the road and will not in any way be interfering with the pursuit of traffic. And we urge you to be careful to make sure that you don't get on the highway in any way.
Pick 'em up and lay 'em down. Right, right. Pick 'em up and lay 'em down. Right, right. Pick 'em up and lay 'em down. Right, right. All the way from Selma town. Right, right. Oh, the mud sure was deep. Right, right. Oh, the hill sure was steep. Right, Lord, I didn't get much sleep. Right, that's why we're moving in a creep. Right, right. We made some level ground. Right, right. Now we're moving on down. Right, right. Did the rain come down? Right, right. Lord, I thought I would have drowned. Right, right. But I thought of Sheriff Jim. Right, right. Lord, I thought of Sheriff Jim.
Well, that's good. All right, come on, put it there.
It's rebel flag, Ronnie. It's going to be next nigga.
Sir Clark, you heaving a sigh of relief today that all this is moving out of your county now?
I hope it's over, but I doubt it. I think when Martin Luther King has used us as much as he wants to, then he'll move out.
What about the people who are left behind there now? Are they going to settle down again?
I'm sure that the local people will.
Mm-hmm. You think it's all been due to outsiders?
I think it's definitely been due to outsiders. I noticed yesterday in the march, a group of my friends and I stood there and we were able to count 5 local Negroes in the whole march.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and I've answered a call for the Interracial Council there in Kansas City to join the march here. These ideals that have been expressed by all the people have been mine for a long time. I've had an opportunity to do something about it now.
I think I've been in the civil rights movement all my life. From the time I learned the song in Sunday school, Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black, brown, and white, they are precious in His sight. I never bought the race card, I don't think, as best I can figure it out. I've always disagreed and thought that it was that the theology that I had as a young child talked about us all being together, and then it progressed from there. It progressed into taking stands in my own hometown of Eufaula, Alabama, having my father reject me, and having the church that I accepted the call to be a preacher in reject me, and on into some activity in Birmingham where I went to college, on into Duke, where I was at the time of the Selma March, where I really got involved in the civil rights movement. And I just think basically race has been at the heart of my spirit and relationship to God forever, as long as I can remember.
Dr. King, how are things shaping up now for tomorrow?
Things are shaping up beautifully. We have people coming in from all over the country. I suspect that we will have representatives from almost every state in the Union, and naturally a large number of people from the state of Alabama. And we hope to see, and we plan to see, the greatest witness for freedom ever taken place, that has ever taken place on the steps of the capital of any state in the South. And this whole march adds drama to this total thrust.
I would say, son, that I would have felt like countering with violence, but I learned something from the nonviolent movement. I learned something, that even what I preached, at first, I wasn't sure that I was with what I preached. I didn't believe in what I preached. But in terms of following and watching the movement of King, it taught me, nonviolence taught me something. And it taught me to engage with it and to deal with it. And in other words, if you slap me on this cheek, I'll turn the other one to allow you to do so there, until your anger is vented.
Well, I think that without the Selma March, there would have been something that would have come along. I don't think that we would have just stayed where we were. I think that the community would progress. Still, something would have come along that we would have thought and gotten our rights.
I guess my most important thought of the day is really why African Americans still don't vote in large numbers, given the fact that the struggle was so violent and so brutal.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh, glory, glory.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us.
You hang from a tree, let them know it's all me, they'll never be. Mike don't get it, shut it down. Bill don't get it, shut it down. Mike don't get it, shut it down. Ed don't get it, shut it down. Shut it down, shut it down. Shut it down, shut it down. Shut it down, shut it down.
Ground, The camera panned up, King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won,